Hello, everybody. Hi there. Welcome to another session of One Question a Day. And today's question of discussion will be on the question or the structure of ameloblast in the chapter enamel. If this question comes, you need to talk about the cell of origin, the derivation from the inner enamel epithelium, how there is slowly morphological changes leading to what we call it as reversal of polarity, how it induces an inductive effects, how the organelles change in position, the life cycle of ameloblast, and you talk about in detail about the secretions, the processes involved, the nutrition source for the ameloblast, and at last the fate, the desmolysis, the diagrams. So in this chapter, first we'll talk about the cell of origin. Ameloblast originates or differentiates from the inner enamel epithelium of the enamel organ, and in approximately in the early bulb stage, the cap stage to early bulb stage morphological change, this inner enamel epithelium are turned by the reciprocal inductive actions of the newly formed dentin. We know that reciprocal induction is a phenomenon how the epithelium and the ectomesenchymal tissues work in hand by mutually inducting by sending signals like fibroblast growth factors, insulin-like growth factors, and other chemical signals, protein and chemical signals across each other. The signal initiates from the epithelium, inner enamel epithelium, by the organizing influence of the inner enamel epithelium on the underlying dental papilla cells. They turn into odontoblast and start to secrete dentin. Once the first layer of dentin is secreted, that stimulates the inner enamel epithelium to differentiate into ameloblast. And it goes a series of modifications. So for this question, start with that. Ameloblast are differentiated from inner enamel epithelium at along the early bulb stage. They are short columnar cells that differentiates or transforms into the tall columnar cells to be called as ameloblast under the organizing influence of the newly laid down dentin. That is the most critical part. The candidate has forgotten to add up that will add a glamour to your answers and show your mastery. The inner enamel epithelial cells are large oval cells with central nucleus having central and Golgi complex at the apex or the proximal end, whereas mitochondria are all over. As the inner enamel cells transform into ameloblast, the nucleus are shifted towards the proximal end. The centrioles and Golgi apparatus are facilitated or moved towards the distal end for the process of secretion, whereas mitochondrial are shifted to the proximal end. See how the candidate has beautifully and effectively portrayed the whole shifting process in one couple of things. This entire process is called as reversal of polarity, where there is a change in the positions of organelles. Very important, very crisply seen, better and effectively progressed. The life cycle of ameloblast, there are 6 stages: morphogenic, organizing, formative, maturative, protective, and desmolytic. And the candidate has shown again how the nucleus and the positions of organelles have shifted over the time, and see the formation of things. So this has to be highlighted by parts, showing the parts. So if we are able to draw this and put the part effectively, nothing like that, or go to the traditional diagram of this one from the classic 10 kate, but you have to show the change in the nucleus, names, everything. Shift in the organelles, everything has to be classically marked. I would say in course of examination, learn either to do this or stick on to the new suggestions, but marking parts is absolutely essential for both the diagrams. So brief introduction, not about going again beating the bush with organelles, going to the different stages. Outline of the crown, DEG is determined. Position of the organelle changes called as the reversal of polarity. Organizing stages. Dental placilla, how the first layer of dentin is organized. Connective tissue, dental papilla, how the nutritional source, reversal of nutritional source happening in the organizing stage from the dental papilla to the stellate reticulum, and the further other stage, formative stage, secretes enamel matrix. The first layer of dentin stimulates, and the phenomenon of reciprocal induction happens in the formative stage. Maturative stage starts of the mineralization of enamel, first initiating at the cusp tips, and appearance of microvilli in the distal end of scales. Protective stage, ameloblast and outer enamel epithelium stellate intermedium, because of the exhaustion of the nutritional stores, all this collapses so that the inner enamel epithelium and outer enamel epithelium or post-functional ameloblast, inner enamel epithelium forms a reduced enamel epithelium, and that separates the enamel from connective tissue, protecting. And if there is a contact, there could be a resorption of enamel or cementum deposition happening over the enamel. And the desmolysis says the epithelial cells, reduced enamel epithelium, secrete certain enzymes that will cause atrophy of itself and surrounding connective tissue. This also will facilitate the formation of junctional epithelium and complete bleeding less. There is no bleeding with eruption. So the fusure junctional epithelium and eruption of the tooth without bleeding into the oral cavity is facilitated by this desmolytic stage. And go into briefly on the clinical significance. If there is abnormality, you could see about accumulation of food causing caries. So with that, we come into the life cycle of ameloblast comfortably. Stay connected with this channel for more questions and more answers. Happy learning.